Hi, I'm Dave Briccetti, and I'm doing this demo Q&A for folks who might be interested in my classes this summer, my programming classes for kids. Um, I don't know whether we'll have any live interaction here. If we do, I invite you to put your questions into the Q&A section in Google Hangouts, and I'll answer them. And if we don't get any interaction, then what I will do is just give a brief demo here of some things that I'm offering this summer, and then prepare a longer, more detailed, edited video later. Because as I shift from program to program, sometimes we get some delays. So let me start by sharing my screen. And let's look at the schedule. And you can see that it's a Google Docs spreadsheet that you can view. There's some people looking at it right now, it looks like. And the first class is later this month on June 15th, and it's a Python class. And you can read a bit about Python here. It's a mainstream programming language used by lots of professionals. It's a good language to learn. It's a good language for beginner programmers because you can jump right in and get results without having to learn a lot of concepts as you would in another language, Java, for instance. Then I have a class on Tinker, and some of you may have heard of Scratch. Tinker is like Scratch, but it adds some physics features, which is very nice. You can have bouncing balls and collisions and things. And then something else that's new is a platform editor. So you can make these 2D side-scrolling platform type games. Then we're going to continue with Python, a second class, a continuation from the first, or a good class for students who already have some experience with Python, specifically these things. And then the next class is using JavaScript and the Phaser game programming library, create a fun, visually interesting graphical web game. So this is a game that runs in a web browser, and the programming language is JavaScript, and a lot of the animation and physics and things are handled by Phaser. Next is an introduction to Scala, which is a popular, very powerful programming language that for many people replaces Java. And we'll learn to code Scala partly using Kodjoe, which I'll show you. Next is combining cool animations in art with processing in Scala. And that combines processing, which is, I'll show you some of their sample programs with the Scala programming language. And then programming a web application. And unlike the graphical web game, which is written in JavaScript and runs entirely in the browser, this type of web application also has code running on a server somewhere and data saved in a database. So this is a more elaborate type of application. And then Minecraft modding with Scala. And a lot of Minecraft modding is done today with Java, and Scala is another language that runs in that environment. And I have some YouTube videos that show some Minecraft modding in Scala to do some interesting things. And then this is a repeat of the Python class. Okay, so let me come back to here and again invite anyone to ask questions, and they'll appear here on my screen, and then I can answer the questions. And I think what I'll do now is show some of the programs that we will be learning about in the classes. So let's share the screen again. And let's start with Python, the first Python class. Here we go. And for Python, I recommend that people use the PyCharm Integrated Development Environment, or IDE. And this particular program is a simple text adventure game. And by text, I mean there's no graphics, it's just words. These were very common in the early days of computing. And so you can see that this game has 4 places here and transitions among the places. So from the airstrip, you can go to the forest. From the forest, you can go to these places, and so on. And let me run this. And here's what it looks like. You're at the airstrip. You can go to the forest. So I type in forest. Now I'm at the forest. And I can go back to the airstrip or to the cave. And there's a meadow. And in the meadow, I fell in a hole and got stuck. Now, why did that happen? That happened because of randomness. And here in the program, this program is written so there's a 1 in 2 chance of falling in the hole and getting stuck. And there's also a 1 in 2 chance, if you don't fall in the hole, of discovering an amazing treasure. That's one example of a Python program that we'll work on. I've got lots of others, but I think I'll keep this short. All right. Tinker, I don't think I'll show. You can go to tinker.com and learn quite a bit about it. And then for continuing learning Python, we'll do more with the text adventure game. And then the text adventure game I showed is not what we do at the very beginning of the class. That's kind of, we learn elements of the language and then work up to that. Other things we'll do are, it's real easy in many programming languages to pull information from web services, like you can get the weather, or various services have interfaces where you can pull information. Okay, I'm going to show you a little bit about JavaScript and Phaser. And let's see where I'm ready to do that. That is here. This is NetBeans. It's another integrated development environment, and it's useful for JavaScript development and web app development. Okay, so let's look at some of the examples that come with Phaser. I'm going to run this. And NetBeans starts this application in the browser. And so you're looking at the Phaser examples. And some of the things that you can do in Phaser are make games like this. So everybody knows this game. And here's another game. You try to find similar colors. And there's some interesting things with particles. Let's see if I can find those. Colliding particles. You see all the categories here. Particles, emitters, when particles collide. I hope this comes through well. Now, if you were to write all this code to detect these collisions, it would be, and even to have the natural kind of falling here, it would be a lot of work, but Phaser's physics features make it relatively easy to do that kind of thing. Okay, that's Phaser. Let's just come back here. Okay, and no questions yet. That's fine. And sharing the screen again. This is, while I'm here, this is my YouTube channel, and I can group it into the playlists. I have 47 videos about computer programming for kids, and this is a good way to learn some things as well as get familiar with my teaching style. So the computer programming for kids encompasses some of these other ones, like a lot of these Scala videos are also for young programmers. Kodjoe, JavaScript. Um, I fly airplanes sometimes. I've got some of my flying videos here. Okay, back to the spreadsheet with classes. Scala, I'll show you Kodjoe. Here's Kodjoe, and here's a program written in Kodjoe, and the code is here. Let me just move this to be on the left, if I can. There. So this program here simulates throwing 2 dice and then draws a histogram of the results. There are more ways to roll a 7 than any other outcome. So this bar naturally reflects that. I'll run it again. And part of the effect here is that it draws it. And there's if I set this animation delay to a smaller value and run it again, it draws quite a bit faster. I have a YouTube video where I have a very elaborate animated histogram of throwing dice, and that's written with Scala and processing. But just to start with something really simple here in Kodjoe, I can do a clear and then set the animation delay to 100, and then do something like forward 100. And then when I run, see that this turtle just moves forward 100. And I can do other things like turn right 90 degrees. When I run now, he's facing this way. And then I can do things like repeat that 4 times. Now we have a square. And from here, we can get kids thinking about how to make any kind of regular polygon. If you wanted to make a hexagon, what would you do? Well, this is the number of sides, so maybe this is part of it. Well, no, that's not quite right. So then we have to think about the angles. Well, got to go around a complete circle, and we got to do it with 6 turns. So let's see. And there we go. So we'll use Kodjoe a little bit with Scala, but we'll also learn a lot about the Scala language. Next is cool animations in art with processing in Scala. And I'm prepared to show you some of that. This is from the processing webpage. And these examples here are in Java, but we'll use Scala. So let's look at some of these here. You see the result of running the program, and then here's the program that does it, this little program here. And in processing programs, they're usually these 2 methods, one called setup and one called draw. And the setup sets the size of the screen and does some other things, and then and this only runs once. And draw runs as fast as it can, or you tell it to. You can say what you want the animation rate to be, and then processing tries to keep up with that. I'll show a couple others. Let's see. There are some I was looking at before. Yeah, this is an interesting one. The drawing is affected by the position of the mouse pointer, as you can see. And it's just this code that does it. And Some of you may know the distance formula, and that's kind of what controls it. Okay, that's that class. And programming a web application, as I said before, this is going to be more than just a little game running entirely in the browser. This is going to be there'll be some HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and that'll run in the browser, and then Python and/or Scala code with a web application framework. And I know that is probably new terms for many of you, but most web applications these days they kind of build on tools that other people provide us, and a web application framework is one of those. And last is the Minecraft modding class. And for that, I might go to here, Minecraft modding in Scala, and just point you to these videos. Here's an example of, I think I can play this. Let me just give it I'll try it once here. I think I can play it where we are here. Okay, YouTube here. And then, oh good, I got a question here and I'll answer that. Add videos to playlist. Paste. Whoops, somehow I just got the text of it. Okay, I won't spend a lot of time on that. My YouTube channel is not too hard to find. I might try it again, but let me answer this question. Okay. Hi, Lynn. Would an entering sixth grader be too young for the class? In the class that you're referring to is which one? And while you answer, if you're still here, I will show, or I will answer it for various classes. For the Python class, that's fine. The Scala class, that's fine. Let's tell you what. Well, I was going to go bring up the spreadsheet, but we'll see if I can remember them. I think for somebody who has great math skills, all these classes would be fine. Okay. Can I show an example of a web programming application? Yeah. Let's see. I've got something that I can show that's, and that was for the Scala class. Yeah, that'd be fine. I think I can show something here. Just sharing the screen again. Just trying to remember where that is. Under NetBeans. Yeah. Okay. So this is a web application. This is entirely in JavaScript. So this is probably not the one you're asking about, but I'm going to think about if I've got something I can show you for that. But what makes this a web application and not a web page is that the content is dynamic. This is you can read about it a little bit if you want to, but this is for helping you manually solve written down on paper Minesweeper games. So you tentatively place mines and see how many of the criteria you can satisfy. And so it's written in JavaScript, and the JavaScript code is here. So these are the numbers that are the data that make up the grid, and then just making this a little bigger here. And then this is the code. So this is the JavaScript code that does that. So there's 109 lines of code. Now for a web app where there's a language, Python or Scala, running on the server, I've got lots of that kind of work that I do. but I don't think I'm prepared to show something right now. And I don't think I have anything on the YouTube channel right now. So I don't think I can answer that. Sorry. Okay, so I have done what I wanted to do. I'm going to make another edited video, as I said at the beginning. Um, let's see, am I showing myself here? Yeah. Um, a more complete video, probably one for each class that just gives a little bit more details. And we have some more time. The first Python class is full. The others are wide open. Okay, so at this point, I think I'll thank you for coming, people who are here live and people looking later. So long.